Friday at 11 o'clock. And today we are going to be talking about, we're going to have a blogging topic and really talk about where blogging has taken us, what opportunities it's opened up for us, really. Did we expect those sort of opportunities when we first started? And today joining us we have the usual crowd. First of all, we've got Penny.
Hi there.
And we've got Joy.
Hello.
And we've got Ali.
Hello, I'm from Bugbird B. My lower third's not working still.
So who wants to start us off then? So who started blogging? Did any of us start blogging with the intention of it leading to anything?
No, complete opposite. I mean, I've just worked out this morning actually that I've been blogging for 7 years this month, which is quite a long time. So I started off before I was a parent blogger, before I had kids. My eldest child's nearly 5. And I started off blogging because I wanted the motivation to do something. So I've been reading a lot of the US blogs, especially people like Soul Mama, who were doing loads and loads of crafting. And I wanted the motivation to do some of that crafting myself. So rather than coming home from work and just zonking in front of the TV, I wanted to actually do stuff. And I thought that having the motivation of writing about it would help me actually do stuff. So that's how I started. And I was quite happily going along. And then when I announced I was pregnant, a parent blogger who happens to be another local blogger in St Albans, she dropped me an email and said, oh, we should meet up, we should have a cup of tea or something. I've got loads of kids stuff that you could have secondhand, all this. I was like, okay. So I met up with her, and then she started telling me about all these things that she got out of blogging and doing reviews and all this kind of thing. And I was just kind of sat there like open-eyed with like, what? People pay you to write on a blog? What? Reviews? What? And she just introduced me to this whole new world of parent blogging and working with brands. And she was one of the first parent bloggers. So she's been blogging slightly longer than me, and she's got slightly older kids. So she had been parent blogging from the start. And I was just like in awe a little bit of what was possible. And she then really sort of opened my eyes to people like the Tots, who I think were the only ones at the time doing anything like that. So it's all changed a lot since I started. But in a way, I'm also trying to get back to my roots, if that's the right phrase to use. And especially over the last month or so, I've been going back to doing a lot more crafty stuff and using the blogging as a motivation to actually, do something every week and to write a post every week about what I've been crafting and that. So it's almost going a bit of a full circle for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, really. I was on Twitter and a blogger said, why don't you start a blog? So I did that, and again, it was to get me to do stuff. It was more to do with my children. I was one of those parents that didn't really like kids to get messy. Oh my God, what if they put the paint on the furniture and all that? And I never let my children be creative and explore and have them sensations until I was like, right, well, my son didn't know he had sensory processing at the time, and he would be painting his whole body, and the only way I could let him do that would be to take photographs to use for a blog. And so I think it was beneficial to both of us. But yes, and then I joined in with craft linkies and things like that. And then a local blogger asked me if I could do a sponsored post for her, and then it sort of went from there. And then really most of it's just brands and stuff contacting me, and my email just going crazy. But I did have a little thing where I was really interested in dinosaurs, and I contacted lots of people and said about how I could help them because of my love of dinosaurs, and I created quite a following on Pinterest. But yeah, it's good.
For me, I started blogging officially when I found out I was pregnant with my third, and she's 7, and that was on MSN Spaces at the time, through Hotmail. I had no clue what it was. I started writing my pregnancy diary, and I started having comments from people that I was connected to through Hotmail and Messenger, because this is before Facebook and all that kind of thing, and we're leaving comments, and I thought it was a bit weird, and then I was getting comments from people I didn't know, so I stopped. And then just before, she was about 9 months old, and this is just after people were on MySpace and Facebook started to get in a bit more known. and I joined Twitter in January 2009, and I just used it as just, you know, just saying my day really. And bloggers were following me, and I had no idea what a blog was. And somebody sort of like a US lady said, "Oh, I'll friend you on Facebook." So she friended me on Facebook, and she put a link up for her blog. And I said, "You know, how do you do that? How do you get that up on the screen so that people can read?" Because she wrote her daily life about her boys and about her job and everything. So she sort of like said, "Oh, I'm on Blogger, you know, sign up to Blogger and you can do this kind of thing." I thought, "Oh, this is a great idea," because I had 3 children. My brother had 3 children, and getting together at family gatherings, it was quite hectic, telling everybody's news. So I thought, oh, perhaps I could put everything we do on, on the blog. But I did it once a month, and I did everything that we did in that one blog post. Not the great way to do it. And then I joined what was then the Mummy Bloggers Club, which then, and another, which Brick Mums first started, and then a year after that was the Tots. And I don't know, it was very laid back. I never knew about sponsor posts or reviews or anything, and I think I've been going for 2 years before anybody sort of like I got into that kind of thing. But yeah, that's me. That's how I started.
Yeah,
What about
for
you,
me, I mean, I've had a few different blogs. My first one I'd set up before. I knew what Blogger was, but I didn't. And I knew what blogs were, but I never read a parent blog. Never met a parent blogger. I'm from sort of an area of the country where we don't really have a lot of parent bloggers up here, really. I'm the only one for a few miles even now. But yeah, I started up. I didn't know any bloggers at all, and I just started it. And I thought, well, how can I share this blog? Because obviously, there's no point writing something if it's not going to get read. And you know, the point of blogging was to share your experiences. So I got onto Twitter, and I found a couple of people. I think I found Pippa D and Michelle Pannell, a few other like twin mum bloggers. And then I said, well, why don't you join Brit Mums? And I've never heard Brit Mums, so I signed up to Brit Mums, and then I signed up to Tots. And it's just kind of gone from there, really. I mean, I've had a lot of opportunities out of what I do, blogging. At the moment, the opportunities are mainly travel-related, because that's what I blog about now. But yeah, I certainly didn't go into blogging with the intention of getting much out of it, really, because I wasn't aware of that world and what it could do, really.
I think the interesting thread to what all 4 of us have said here is that it was other bloggers that we got in touch with that made us aware of what else was going on. I think that's one of the key things is the community and the fact that you're not blogging on your own in a little silo separately. Actually, you end up interacting with loads and loads of people, and it kind of goes against this stereotypical image of someone sat at home talking to the computer. And actually,
yeah,
there's people out there.
True. I mean, that's what I found through blogging, was that there was an escapism of talking to other people that could relate to you without having to leave your house and finding and being judged, because back then I tended to hide behind an avatar that wasn't me, didn't have me for a long time. It was some majority of people back then, they had a picture of their kids as the avatar or a logo. You never showed your face. And yeah, it was a way of communicating with people without having to feel that you were isolated. Because when I had my kids, I lost all my friends. They moved away. They had different jobs, and had my friends were my then husband's friends, and it couldn't really relate to them, the way that I related to my past friends, and it was just a way of finding new people, and yeah, it was, I don't know, it was probably about 3 years before I actually met somebody in person. And it's, oh my God, you write a blog too, and you understand Twitter, and I got somebody who understands what I'm talking about, because whenever I talk to anybody in my family, they just look and say, what? You do what? What's that then? And both my mum well, all my parents, both my parents and family, they're always asking me how to do stuff on Facebook and set things up, and but they don't. I don't know. It's a totally different world, but it's only slowly that I think coming to be normal life for other people apart from bloggers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think it's a community as well that sort of keeps you going, because I think had I not found that community, I probably would have done 3 months and then given up. So yeah, I think the community is important, and like I said, the community helps identify opportunities and things that you can get involved with as well. So I think that the community element's very important, to be honest. And like Penny says, it does kind of go against that image of us all just sat behind very crackly computers at the time. So what opportunities have we sort of had from blogging that you probably wouldn't have had if you wasn't blogging, really? What things have you done? What exciting, fun things have you done because of blogging?
Harry Potter. Yeah, I don't think I would have even imagined of going to the making of Harry Potter Studios, and that was through Brit Mums, because they had the lounge a couple of years ago. Went there with my kids the last day before the summer, before going back to school, and then we got asked to go back for the press event for the first time that they had Hogwarts and Hogwarts Castle and Snow. So that was pretty special. I don't know. I don't get that sort of. I get invited to lots of things, but I don't drive. And a lot of them are like smaller kids orientated, or they get stuff that's in London, and I live I don't live that near to London, so I tend to do some really great stuff. So the majority of stuff is things that I can do digitally, so charity stuff. I've done lots of stuff for Team Honk over the years, doing the social media, getting people to sign up, doing that kind of thing, Save the Children. My last big thing for charity, I did Ralph Fiennes, helping to promote his walk across the desert, and I just started to do a thing with The Guardian to lobby big companies to stop them from using coal, gas and oil, and get them to use more eco-friendly means of energy. So that's my latest thing. So for me, it's stuff that I can do more online and get people engaged that way than actually going to events. Not because I don't want to do it, but it's just circumstances mean that I can't get to events during the week within school time if I can't get people to but yeah.
Yeah, see, I was one of the bloggers that actually was chosen to go and speak to Ranulph Fiennes, which is, for somebody from the back stick of Yorkshire, it's actually quite exciting because we don't get celebs up here. We don't get anybody like that up here, and they sent him up to Yorkshire for an event, and say a couple of us went across to meet him, and my daughter went into school the next day and says to her teachers, last night I met Sir Ranulph Fiennes. And I went, oh yeah, of course you did, love. And when I went into school, they said, she's told me she's met Ranulph Fiennes. I said, yeah, we have. And what 10-year-old could go into school and say that they've done that? And that is something that would never have come up had we not been blogging, really.
It's like I was chatting to a blogger.
That's kind of my top example.
Yeah, I was chatting to a blogger, and I can't think who it was now, who got to take her daughter to afternoon tea with Julia Donaldson. Now imagine that as a child, the buzz you must get from something like that. I mean, it's one of those money can't buy situations.
Yeah. I think, yeah, there are some things that people sort of like say, well, I was telling my mum, I said, oh, look, who's so-and-so's gone to do them. Mum goes, well, how do you do that? Well, because they write a blog. I mean, next week, going to go to the Wyvern Theatre, got free tickets, going to go on a mini tour before, and then we've got a press event afterwards. And goes, well, how did you do that? And doesn't understand. I said, well, somebody found me on Twitter, like my blog. So, and the irony is, I put all my hard work at the beginning for my family to see and find out stuff about what we're doing, but they never read it. They're probably the last people who ever read my blog is my family, and that's who I started out to be for. And whenever they sort of like, so you haven't posted any, you went to such and such, you didn't post any photographs. Yeah, they're on my blog. And they don't understand that, that's where everything goes. And that's why I've kept up Instagram, because that's sort of like the little snippets of my day. Even if I post one day, then otherwise I think, what's she doing? You know, you went to, you know, but yeah, it's they still don't realise that, you know, I get stuff and, oh, why have you got that? Oh, who sent you that? I didn't think you had any money. I didn't buy it. So they sent. Why did they send it to you? And they don't understand that, you know. What? They sent it to you. Why?
See, I'm getting the opposite problem. Because I get so much stuff for free, people don't think I pay for anything anymore. When I bought my Merlin passes...
It's not stuff for free, it's a transaction. You are doing something for them, you are promoting them, you are talking about them. So I understand using the word free, but I don't like it because free is...
No. But you know what I mean. I paid full price for my Merlin passes, and someone was like, "How have you managed that?" And I'm like, "I paid for them." You know. So everything they expect, you know, all right, they expect everything to be a review item or something like that, and I'm like, no, I paid for it.
Yeah, because I on my Instagram especially, I tend to put up a lot of stuff that I like, and I'm getting the feeling that people think that I've been sent that stuff. And
it's hard because I think there are some bloggers who it's a very unclear line between what they've paid for and write about and tweet about and everything, and what they've been sent and that they write about and tweet about. So
yeah.
I'm just trying to, I've seen bloggers before where they'll say, oh, look at this gorgeous thing that I got from shop XYZ, but they're not clear if they've bought it from shop XYZ or if they've been sent it from shop XYZ. Whereas I try and be very clear that if I'm tweeting or Instagramming about something I've been sent, I say so. If I'm writing, if it's something I haven't been sent, it's something I've bought myself, I just feature it. If I'm writing a proper blog post though, and it's, if say I'm doing a review of something I paid for, I will in the disclaimer put I paid for this myself, or I will put I was sent this or whatever. And I think it's sad in a way that you have to do that, but I only go to that length of saying I paid for this myself on blog posts. I don't bother with Instagram and that. I just kind of leave that as assumed and only tell them if it's something I've been sent.
Yeah, because I know I buy stuff, random stuff, you know, like the stationery stuff that I find from the works, or I find something that's really cute. I know people will say, oh, where'd you get that from, kind of thing. That's stuff that I've bought, and I've been doing the vegan stuff, that subscription. I've actually paid for that, and I just thought it'd be nice to have letting other people that are following me, like, you can get the subscription kind of thing, and I like this kind of thing.
Yeah, I got asked by someone in real life the other day whether or not my crochet was actually a sponsored thing, whether or not I'd actually been sent it to do, because I'm featuring it a lot, and because I've been doing it for so long now, it's been in loads of Instagram posts, and someone just said, not like in an accusing manner, but just, oh, is that something you've been sent to review or to feature? I was like, no, actually I paid for it, but I hadn't really thought about that at the time. They're like, oh, it's on your Instagram a lot. It's like, well,
there are people that do sponsor posts and stuff and get stuff, and they never say that it is being sent to them. And it's like, oh, but then there's sort of like, because Instagram and Pinterest are my happy places where I feel like I can be myself, and I don't have to worry about, you know, I'm pinning because I like this, and I pin as much as I like because I like this. I'm not worrying about blog traffic. And, you know, because I'm not pinning stuff that's from my blog. And the same with Instagram. You know, this is something I like, this is something I've done, and I want to share it with people. And then I think, well, you know, do people think, oh, is that false? Is she being paid? Whatever kind of thing. And yeah, and I'm oh, you know. So then I have to go off and take a picture that's really random, so people think, oh, she is real.
But I think, as well, going back to an earlier point, I think people underestimate just how much effort that you put in to get that free item. When everybody says to me, oh, have you got free tickets to somewhere? I'll say, well, I have, but it's not really free. I have to have tickets to get into somewhere to write about it. So that's why the companies send me those tickets, because I know that I shouldn't have to pay if I'm going in to write about them. So if anybody says, is it freebie, I say, no, it's a legitimate journalistic assignment that I have got press tickets for, which is what, you know, the nature of it. And I do think people underestimate just how much work you actually do. I mean, if you put what I wrote into a newspaper, people go, oh, that's somebody's job. That journalist has spent, you know, X number of hours writing that and taking pictures. But I think because it's on the blog and because I'm getting free entry into somewhere, people think it's, you know, it is a good thing to do. And I love going on these days. I love writing about them, and I probably would have written about them anyway. But yeah, certainly the opportunities to go and visit new places that we probably wouldn't have thought of because somebody's asked us to go and check their place out is a good thing, really, because we get to do, I think we get to do a lot more as a family that we probably wouldn't have done before, because obviously I'm restricted much more by time and budget, but now I'm using my time and my budget goes further because I'm not having to pay entry for places. We get to do quite a lot as a family, and that's good. And like I said, I think the opportunities for my children has been quite big as well, because not only did I run all fine things, my daughter she came as part of Team Honk and did a dance-a-thon, and she got back to school the next day, and everybody was like, oh my God, I can't believe you were on the telly yesterday, we were watching for you. And, you know, I know 10-year-olds have never even been to London, let alone, you know, in Wembley Arena and done a dance-a-thon with all these other women, and she had a fantastic time. But that's the sort of thing, like joining with Team Honk and meeting celebrities is the one thing we would not have done had I not decided 4 years ago that I was going to join a blogging community.
Do you ever do things that you've reviewed or anything that you wouldn't have normally, and actually if you had to choose it you wouldn't do it? I say that because you talk about the journalists, but they would have been paid, and now it looks like HMRC are going to change the way things so that it is more strict with reviews, and I think at some point it's going to have to be a definite, you know, you have to count it all as your income. So if you're reviewing a bottle of sauce and that's taking up all your time and you're not being paid for that sauce, do you think there's going to be a move to actually people are going to need to pay bloggers to review their products?
I think it depends a little bit. I mean, I get a lot of things to review, especially kids' books and kids' toys, and I look at that in that I hardly have to spend any money buying my kids' toys or books. I don't think I've bought my kids a book other than from a charity shop in years. Toys, I'll buy them something specific that they want for birthdays or Christmas, but I don't ever have to buy any toys in between. So I look at it in that I write the reviews, and I'll do my reviews quite seriously, and I do video reviews for a lot of the toys I get to review now as well, and I put a lot of work into those toys, into those reviews. But I look at it in that I'm saving money, in that I'm not having to buy other things. So that's why I agree to review some food items as well, is because it saves on that month's supermarket shop because I'm doing something. And I suppose if I looked at it, you know, I reviewed a Bing jigsaw with my son recently, which retails at, I think, just under £10 or something like that. So £10 isn't very much. We made a video, I wrote a blog post, did photos. So in terms of, you know, as my husband says, it's less than minimum wage for the time I probably spent doing stuff. It's a hard one, isn't it? And I suppose the tax bit is another angle to it all.
Yeah, I mean, the tax bit,
in that thing
you
as
understand
well.
why they're doing it. Go on, so you can understand why they're doing it from a tax point of view, because if you're getting food in lieu of money, you would have taken that money, had been taxed on it, and then bought your food. So it's kind of a bit of a shady thing, but then you can't review that food item for that company without that food. Yeah. So it is, like I say, it's a grey area, and what's going to happen soon is if HMRC do start clamping down on things like that, we're going to have to then say, well, actually, if you're going to tax us on my tickets to get into Alton Towers, for example, I then want paying to compensate for that from Alton Towers to go in and do that review for them. So then they're going to have to pay me as a journalist to do that, and then get taxed on that. So it's all a bit, I don't know, it's just really complicated, and I just think it's one of those areas they're never going to nail on, because it's just, as I say, a massive grey area, really.
Well, they are now saying that unless you earn minimum wage, if you're claiming tax credits, you're going to have to prove it and stuff, and prove you're doing a business. So, you know, I think a lot of bloggers may fall into that category, that they're not getting minimum wage because of what they're doing. So I just think
it depends then how you also categorise the number of hours you work, because if I only look at the time I work, as in when I'm actually sat here in my study at my desk, then that's a certain number of hours. But if I then were to feature in, I'd spend 10 minutes on Twitter while I'm hiding from the kids in the downstairs loo here, and I was just watching something on telly but it didn't have my full attention, so I was actually doing some Facebook status updates here. And because you are a brand, that's like working time, so then that decreases your per hour rate. Whereas if I just counted the time I spend doing reviews and sponsored posts, that's different. You know, like I write, you know, if I were to put up other stuff on my blog in between the commercial content, so, you know, I did like my weekly Ladybird Tuesday post, or my week in crafts, or I did a video a couple of days ago of a charity shop haul. I'm not being paid for that, but it's content and it's part of my brand. So do I count those hours as work hours? Do you see what I mean? It's such a grey area, and I don't know how HMRC or anyone like that would actually work it out.
Yes, I think the problem is that people are saying, you need to work a minimum of 16 hours a week to get tax credits, and people are saying, well, I do work 16 hours, I've got a blog and it's my business. But actually that business it's not a feasible business. I mean, for some people, yes, it is. It makes a lot of money, and you do make minimum wage, and that's good. But I think there's a lot of people who don't, and just say, I'll work 16 hours, but they might only get one sponsored post a week. One sponsored post a week is not a business. And I think you can sort of see it from that perspective, really. If it doesn't make you money, it's not a business, you shouldn't be counting it. But it is, it's difficult when you're trying to claim tax credits, I think. And
but then if you were counting in the value of stuff you're reviewing, you know, if you're doing 16 hours a week but you're managing to review high value items in that time, then if you're having to declare those, then that takes you over a minimum. It's the two sides, because I had this when we remortgaged our house, in that because I'm self-employed, I had to show them my accounts and stuff, and I end up having to give them printouts of all my PayPal account, because I get paid a lot of things via PayPal, to show them money coming in and stuff like that. But I also end up writing them a narrative saying, well, actually, in the last 6 months, I've had so many £100 worth of supermarket vouchers. You know, and it's just trying to do that balance then that's, a funny one.
Yeah, I just think the days are going to be gone soon where PRs can just send you something in lieu of payment and just expect you to be happy with it, because, like you say, if you start getting, heavily screwed on by tax all the time, then how do you declare it? Like you say, it's £100 worth of supermarket vouchers is better than pay in some respects, but do HMRC look at it like that? Anyway, I think we've gone off a bit onto tax topics, haven't we?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Talking about.
So what opportunities, what doors do we think that blogging has opened for us that we probably wouldn't have had if we're not blogged?
I think for me as well, it's the opportunities for the children, like the trips to London, but they've met more children, they've mixed with different people that they wouldn't have otherwise met, and not all, I don't agree with all bloggers and things, and so they've still met those people and those children, so they've got different, do you know what I mean? Everyone's different, and they might, I wouldn't have necessarily mixed my children in those circles otherwise.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I probably met people that would normally not, if I, was in a room, I probably wouldn't have bothered to come and talk to you, kind of. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's, again, going back to community, isn't it? We come back, our backgrounds are very different, us four here. We're all completely different people. But
and separated by geography as well.
Yeah, but we've managed to still, find a way of coming together and talking. And that's led us on to different things, and hopefully, in the future, Penny's already done quite a couple of hangouts through, and got paid for it as well, and hopefully, people will see us, and even if we just carry on just for fun, it's again something, it stretches our minds, we're doing something different to other people, so yeah, I think it's those different opportunities, not just to do with blogging, but for opening up your world as well, and meeting other people you probably wouldn't have met before.
I think also blogging has given me a lot more confidence. I think after stopping going out to work when I had the kids, I think I went through a phase where actually I lost some of my confidence. You know, I was used to dressing up smartly for work, going in, standing in front of a room full of people and doing a big presentation or something. But I don't do that anymore. But yet I come and do stuff like this, and I'll talk to other people in real life, and they'll go, "Oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't go on YouTube. I couldn't broadcast on the internet." And I'm like, "Well, actually, I can do that better. That's a skill that I've learned, something I've developed in myself."
That's exactly with me. I mean, being a single parent, you know, my confidence was not to six, but it's through the blogging community of, you know, people being there for me and understanding and sending me messages, and then slowly I eventually went, you know, to go to conferences and workshops and stuff like that. So it's been a plus in that way that I've, you know, and again, I've still yet to start vlogging. I don't know how I can sit there and talk, you know, what other people are there to come back, but I can quite happily sit here with you guys, and I know that other people might be watching or watch it another time, but I don't think I could have done it 2 or 3 years ago.
No.
Sorry, for me it's definitely, I say with Penny saying about the confidence thing, yeah, I came from a completely different, I was from a business background, and then through blogging I just kind of developed those skills of sitting here talking to you. I've been invited to go on the radio to talk about Mads wins and Bibs nominations, things like that. I'm now sort of fairly regular on radio. I've been offered my own radio show. Wish I had the time, but I haven't. And just opportunity to do a lot to develop skills, really. I mean, I'm quite a good video editor now. I've just done a video for the school PTFA because I've got a bid in for some funding, so I was able to do that for them. But I can do Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, everything like that, which I wouldn't have done had I not blogged. And I have clients who now pay me to do that, which is brilliant. And then last week a client said to me, have you ever done podcasts? Have you got any experience with podcasts? And I went, no, not really, but do you know what? I have a blog, and I'm now going to set up a podcast to experiment with it to see how it goes, so that I can then use those services to sell to clients who want podcasting services. So yeah, for me, it's enabled me to sort of stay at home and develop a business that's flexible, not having to go back out and work for somebody else full time, because of 4 children, it's not going to happen. But yeah, certainly, I think, you know, if I wasn't sat here talking to you now, I'd just be sat staring at my belly button, because you know, I wouldn't have clients and I wouldn't have, you know, things to talk about, really.
I think you're spot on there, Joe. I think that's it. It's given me work opportunities, and you know, I've developed myself as a person and as a brand, which I hope then when my son finally gets to go to school full time, I will then have something that I can sell out there, if you see what I mean. Like, you know, I've now got a monthly slot on the radio, which came about from going on another radio station with another blogger as a guest to talk about something. And, you know, I did that and I got good feedback. So I then approached another radio station and said, look, would you consider doing a monthly slot on this? And they're like, oh, yeah. So now I've been doing that for probably about 6 months now. And again, it's just another string to my bow, if you see what I mean.
So I think sort of women in the workforce these days now don't need all the skills they can get, really, to adapt to things as they go along. And so what I'm doing now in social media is a million miles away from what I was doing when I was 18. Which is kind of a good thing. But who would have thought, you know, when I was 18 that if they said, oh, you know, you're going to be on the internet every week telling people what you do, but like, no, you know, the internet wasn't even around when I was 18, you know, so it's kind of it's a bit of a weird thing, really, to sort of come on that journey of, and it all started because 4 years ago I just thought it would be a laugh to start a blog.
I think as well. It's a great way for parents to be able to be at home for their kids. I mean, especially with my little boy having special needs, the school can ring me up, something's happened, I need to take him home, and I can just be there and still feel like I'm contributing to my family. I'm still working and I'm developing my skills, but I'm still here, and I can go to the assemblies and all the, you know, all those little. I mean, we had reading this morning. If I'd have had to shut off to work, you know, and he needs that more than anything because he's so far behind. So I think it's great that I can feel like I'm not getting depressed that all I've got to do when I get home is do the cleaning for everyone.
It's flexibility. It's good. Joe, put your microphone on, love. Joe, put your microphone on. Joe, unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm rubbish.
I like the arm waving.
I don't do this with clients. I just do this for you lot. Yeah, sorry. So, but the microphone's just a nightmare on this laptop. I apologise if there's any feedback. No, I was saying about the tax thing, about how difficult it is then for us to turn around and say, well, actually, we do work 16 hours a week, because we can't quantify that, because we spend so much time flitting between school and housework and looking after the children, and then they're poorly, and then your 8 hours that you planned on doing on this project has gone out the window, and you come back and you do 15 minutes of Twitter while you're cooking tea, and it's just, you can't quantify that. It's just horrible, and that's sort of the mishmash of lives that we lead, I think, when you've got children at our age, and it's just, the tax man is going to have a job measuring us, isn't he?
I think also if you talk to a lot of bloggers, you find a lot of them are the sorts of people who go out and do lots of other voluntary stuff as well, whether it be PTA stuff, school governor stuff, local church stuff, community organisations, playgroups, food banks. Lots of bloggers do all these lots of bits, which they wouldn't have the flexibility to give back to their local community in the same way if they had a regular 9-to-5 job. So, yeah.
But then, regular 9-to-5 jobs are boring, aren't they?
Yeah.
Who wants a 9-to-5 job?
There isn't many 9-to-5 jobs there now.
You're muted again, Joe.
And honestly, this microphone's driving me potty. But going out and getting a regular job that fits in around children is nigh on impossible anyway. So, you do these things because you have to, don't you?
School's only until 3:15. And that doesn't work with a 9-to-5 job.
No, exactly. Anyway, are we done? Do we think? Have we got anything else to add about fantastic opportunities through blogging?
Not today.
No. So, remind me again what we're talking about next week.
No idea. Half term.
Yeah, it's half term, so we'll probably be talking about what we're doing over half term.
Okay, so we shall see you all next week on Friday at 11. It's goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye.